So this is the ritual that I am designing for the magician card. And there are a few meanings of the magician card, but essentially it's that you have all the tools you need at your disposal to make happen whatever you want to make happen. And the tools, of course, are the suits of the tarot. Um, One of the key elements of the magician's iconography is his hat that looks like an infinity symbol. And essentially, he is holding his arms in a position to say, as above, so below. So, what we're going to do for this mildly chaotic ritual is most of the ritual is about gathering supplies. It's about putting together the pieces that you need for the magician. So, first we're going to need a floppy hat. And I like this hat, but it doesn't have a good enough infinity symbol. So we're gonna go with this floppy hat instead, because it's, yes, that's way better. Okay, so floppy hat, check. Then we need a coin, and I tend to use quarters for my coins, because it's easy enough to get them, 10 of them together, and because they're a really nice consistent size and a good feel in the hand. So coin, and then we need a cup. And you don't have to get too precious about it. It can be any old cup. This is a fancy cup my mom got me, and it's got some like fun metal along the bottom. So that's going to be our cup. Okay, and then it gets a little bit more complicated, right? Because swords and wands aren't things we just have landing around our house. So, for swords, I basically say any old sharp pointy thing is gonna work. Um, I actually own a sword, but today we're gonna pull a knife that I have that I've only ever used as decor. It's like super dull, but the knife is better than the full-length sword just because it'll fit on a piece of furniture or a space to put it together. So finally, the last thing we're missing here is a wand. And I mean, wands can be anything from sticks that I've gathered from outside. For a 10 of Wands ritual, I used mullein stalks in the past. But again, I'm thinking about portability, I'm thinking about their availability in a household, and I'm thinking about the size that it needs to be to stay on an altar. And so for today, we're going to use an old Ticonderoga as my wand. So now what I have is this little collection of things, right? Let me go ahead and switch this out. So we have our collection of objects. We have our wand, our coin, our cup, and our sword. And the thing is that for me, when doing a ritual around the magician, the question isn't just the objects, it's what the objects represent. So coins tend to represent health and abundance and wealth. They're tied to the element of earth. So beauty and physical well-being and abundance all come in with the coins. So in order to do our magician's magic, we need to have our physical health and our financial stability. For the cups, what you're talking about there is going to be emotions. It's emotional health. It's also psychological health. So again, you need to have your financial stability, and then you need to have your love and belonging, and you need to have your emotional well-being put together. Then you've got your sword, which is going to be a intellectual piece. So the sharp cutting sword is the intellectual energy. And so that is going to be then what we're talking about for the sword element. And then here we have our wands, which are passion, but they're also social and work and community. And so this is our social support and our community support, signified by the wands. So I've done the ritual literally of collecting these things and putting them on my altar or putting them on a space where they're dedicated. And what I would recommend doing is really sitting with the tools that you have at your disposal, using these as a guide, which is earth, water, air, and fire, but also to think about how these things are manifested then in the work that you're doing. The other element of the magician that I would call in then is this as above, so below part of the card, which is really important to think about. Like, how can you act in a way in your day-to-day life that is as if you're already pulling in the thing that you're looking to pull into your life. So just for example, I launched my Patreon and within 24 hours of launching my Patreon, I also signed a book deal. And I feel like those two things go in hand. I have the launching my Patreon as a way of saying, I believe in myself and my work and what I'm putting out there. And then I have the book deal coming through because of this activity that I've done in the real world. So what is the next right step? What is the next right action for you to actually embody this thing that you're putting out into the world?